Hello, welcome to another Tech Articles. In this hopefully relatively quick FlowMattic quick tip, I want to discuss something that I've used in a custom integration for somebody in FlowMattic, and it became apparent to me a couple of times that people might not know that you can do this, and I thought it'd make a really good quick tip. So we have a webhook here in FlowMattic, and this workflow is all set up and ready to go. So we have a webhook, and I've already capped captures. Now, the captures are identical with one exception. There is this label here that says alpha start, and in this one it says beta start. Now, the issue is that to run this through the rest of the workflow, you need to find a way to unify beta and alpha start, or you have to build your workflow to accept both. Now, it can be done. You could build your workflow to accept both and bridge out depending on how they work, or you could put a router in. But actually, it's easier to fix than that. It's not always possible to have 100% consistent webhook triggers, i.e., let's say that in this case it's beta and alpha start, but it could be different rooms, but all the rest of the data is exactly the same. And maybe the room ID is somewhere else, but the labels become renamed. And I've shown a couple of my automations for building demo sites, and I use a very similar methodology in there. The details are not universal, but I converted them to universal using local variables. And that's exactly what we've done here. So I've got these responses here, and down here we set a variable, which we set a variable value, and we're setting the variable of time example. And you'll see here I've actually put both alpha start and beta start into a single line, and that allows me to give a single source of truth to this data. So it now doesn't matter what comes in via our webhook, whether it's an alpha or a beta. By the time it gets down here, this output will always be the date. And that means I can then use that to build the rest of my workflow. That example that I have here, that is to modify the date format and then add or subtract a couple of hours. So if I go here to history and I bring this command prompt over here. Now I'm just going to run both of these. So this is a beta. I don't know if that went straight through. Let's just check, because sometimes my firewall picks these up. So let's run a beta till we get a beta. There we go. We've got a beta. So we have a beta trigger, and we've got, you can see here it's run all the way through our workflow. It's got to the time formatter and the date formatter, and we've got success. Now if we go back here and run an alpha, I'll run that twice just to be on the safe side. And we go back here, we now have two more runs. And if we look at this, this is an alpha, and you can see here it has gone all the way through. And because when we get to our FlowMattic tools set variable, it is always setting our value. So our value is being set, even though the names, the data are not the same. They are in the same format, which means that we can then add them to a variable. And this is exactly how I build my demo sites. I take the data in. They have not got the same label names because the label names are based on the sites that they're building. But then I put them into a universal variable that I can then use in the rest of my workflow, so I don't have to make my workflow cumbersome because I'm trying to account for all the availabilities. I do that very early on with variables, and I set them based on the data. And this methodology only works if that data is not present in the webhook or the trigger. So in my case, and in this particular example, you either get alpha or beta. If both were in there, this wouldn't work because it would combine the two fields. But because alpha and beta never appear together, I can put the same variables into the local variable, and I get one output, which I can then use through the rest of my workflow. And it occurred to me, not many people know this or are using this, and maybe it needs its own video. So thanks for watching. I hope that's useful. Please do like and subscribe to the channel.